It's a question. You can't answer a question with a question.
I don't think there's any say. No, I think I asked the question first, and then you didn't answer it.
No, I didn't. I said.
You did. You said, I said, why would you identify yourself as black if it was based on the fact that all you needed to do was find out what your heritage is, right? And she could do that because she obviously knows what her heritage is. I said, well, if you could do the same thing
because her parents are immigrants,
you found out that you weren't.
Her parents are immigrants, ma'am.
Wait a minute. If you can find out what your heritage is, right?
But I can't.
Why can't you? What's stopping you?
Ma'am, because in order for you to know, there needs to be records and there needs to be information that needs to be preserved. A lot of that stuff that you talking about, it sounds real good, ma'am. It sounds good on.
A lot of it's preserved. You sound like you're a ball of excuses, and
you're
comfortable in the oppressor mindset. That's what it is. You're comfortable in the oppressor mindset. That as long as white people label you this, you could be forever.
I didn't say that, man. That's not what I said.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. You have the victim
that's not what I said.
That mindset that I will just continue to call myself something, even though it does not describe me in any way, shape, or form. I'm just going to make a culture out of it. And instead of me actually going back and finding my lineage and finding out where I came from, it's just easier to call myself black.
I won't be able to.
Let him talk. Go ahead.
Yes, you can.
Go ahead, Shabu.
Ma'am, as far you talking about the DNA stuff, as far as records, a lot of those records.
I'm not talking about DNA.
Ma'am, as far as the records about what part of Africa and all that other stuff in regards to slavery, all of those records really are lost or have been destroyed.
No,
they don't keep those records.
That's false. That is completely and utterly false. You can ask any black historian; they're going to tell you you're wrong, bro.
So where you going? So where you going to find the records at?
You can find there's slave records, there's slave ship manifests. You can go back, and you may not be able to find a birth certificate or anything else like that, but you can certainly research these through any state archive. You can absolutely find out this information.
Ma'am, but you won't know the specifics of where your family is from.
Or you can get a DNA test.
That's the problem.
But yeah, the problem is that maybe you're just ignorant about the process.
No, it's not ignorant. You're not going to be able to find specifics on what exactly.
I just heard you sit here and say that DNA tests are false.
Ma'am.
That's what you just said.
Ma'am. Ma'am, the only thing you could do is based on information is do an educated guess. But you won't be able to find the specific records of where
you're saying an educated guess, but you don't even know your skin color is not black.
Ma'am.
That is brown.
Well, fine. I'm not even. You got it. I'm gonna just concede, bro. I'm gonna just concede because you can't talk to somebody like that, bro. Like I'm trying to tell you.
Talk to somebody like what?
That won't let you finish your answer.
She's letting you speak. We're just letting you speak. Go ahead.
No, she keeps interrupting. It's like, bro,
MOD, don't interrupt him. Go ahead. Go ahead, Shavu.
You got it. I'm all tapped out. You got it.
Okay. Have a nice day. So praise. Let me see. Praise the loud.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the loud. I feel that.
Anybody got a problem with me interrupting? I don't care.
That's rude.
Except for Queenbull, because she's my sister.
And I really don't care either, because we're Aquariuses. That's what we do. Sorry.
That's not the topic. What's the topic?
What happened? What you said?
Can I get?
What's the topic? What's the topic? Yeah.
The topic is race. Race. The concept of race is your oppressor. Is your real oppressor?
No, I have cigarettes.
Yeah.
Do you have Arizona? Like an apple? Arizona?
Wait, I'm gonna mute you, MOD. Hold on.
Sorry.
Yeah. The concept of race as a concept. Yeah, Aquarius gang.
Hey, when I was a child and I found out I was black, it feel like I've been
Shit, sorry, I got a call. You feel like what? I'm sorry? I got a call.
When I was a child and I first found out that I was black, it's been feeling like a curse ever since, like a burden. Like a responsibility that I don't feel like I ever agreed to take on, but I didn't have a choice. And I don't regret it. It's like, because I wouldn't want to be anything else, but I do think black is a label, and the word black carries a lot of negative connotations as well as a lot of positive connotations. And when you take on that label, maybe in a way you also take on those negative and positive connotations. That's why black.
That's the point. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Continue, because I have something to say after that.
No, go ahead.
That's what I keep saying. Like when I bring up topics like this, and when MOD talks about topics like this, people automatically assume that we are anti-black, that we are anti-black people, that we are anti, a person like Shavu or Bgog or you. We're not anti you because we are pro-humanity.
Hold on, I never say you was anti anything.
No. I didn't say you said that, but I said most people when we bring up topics like this, because I'm called a racist every single day on this app.
Ma'am, that's TikTok, man. That's the internet.
Yeah, no, I know. Like, honestly, it's not even this. That's not even what this is about. But what I'm saying is that the race topic is very sensitive because most people don't understand. They conflate it with people being anti-black, as opposed to you seeing it as something else that you are putting yourself into that's oppressing you, right? Because all people talk about is being oppressed and this systemic racism and all this other stuff because you're black. I say,
why hasn't there been laws that have been preventing black people from doing certain things? Would you say that's valid?
Your question. I don't understand.
I said, hasn't the government put in laws in place and rules to actually stop black people from progressing?
What laws? Can you please tell me what law?
Like, okay, we could talk about the Jim Crow laws. We could talk about the Tulsa Massacre. We could talk about Rosewood. Matter of fact, we could even talk about. We could even talk about Harlem. We could talk about Central Park. Central Park was actually a community that was actually being built by Black Americans. And the city actually voted to take those houses out and actually make it what is now Central Park.
Okay, so what are you talking about? Laws? Are you talking? When I'm talking about this, first of all, just to be clear, I'm talking present day. I'm not talking the past. I'm not a person who typically talks about the past, even if it's good or bad. I'm talking about present day situations that are not systemically affecting you. So if you can tell me something that is systemically affecting you, then we could talk.
That's kind of
Jim
a
Crow.
statement.
No, it's not just disingenuous. How is it disingenuous? Is Jim Crow something that's happening today?
That's not the point, man.
So as far as the laws, you also have anti-miscegenation laws too, right? That stops people of color from being able to get married to people of non-color, right? So in terms of the laws, sure. So in terms of what are we doing here? In terms of where you stand with the law, right? There are no laws that exist today, but hypothetically speaking, if you didn't refer to yourself as black, would the law apply to you still?
If I didn't refer to myself as black?
Yeah, like what if during Jim Crow they said black and white people cannot sit together and eat anymore because of Jim Crow, right? Because we also know that just because something is legal doesn't make it right. We don't appeal to legality in that sense. But if it were just as simple,
but just because it wasn't right.
Hold on, but if it was just as simple as saying that black and white people can't sit together, well, why are you two sitting together? I'm not black and neither are they. I am, I'm Somalian and this person's Russian.
Ma'am, just because, ma'am.
Would you be breaking the law?
Ma'am, you're talking about.
But Shavu, if you don't want her to interrupt you, don't interrupt her. She wasn't done talking, so.
I waited. I did.
So are you done, Emoji?
You asked the question.
Ma'am, you're talking about Russian and all this other stuff. You're talking about lineage. The fact, it doesn't matter if the law was right or wrong.
You're missing
the fact of the matter is, even though the laws were in place, the laws were enforced regardless. The laws were enforced regardless.
So hypothetically, I'm just giving you a hypothetical that just because the law says something doesn't make it right, right?
But they were still enforced.
But if the only qualifier was for you to be black or white, if you did not refer to yourself that way, and actually there's Supreme Court cases that actually back up what I'm saying. That's the whole point. If you no longer refer, and now, first of all, I'm not a Moor. So anyone saying that I am, no, I'm not. Not in one shape, any way, shape, or form am I a Moor. I'm not. What I'm saying is that if we're going off of the fact that if the law says black and white, well, if I no longer refer to myself as a black person, then why would then if I go with any other delineation of color, if I say now that I'm purple because I can self-identify, then does the law still apply to me?
Yeah, it still does. Just because you say you're not something doesn't mean just because. Okay, first of all,
there any rule that says you have to identify
you're talking
as
about,
black?
First of all, you're talking about what is right and what is wrong.
There is no rule that says that's the point. There is no law that says you have to identify as black.
But the point, whether it was wrong, the fact of the matter is it was still enforced on people of color that were considered black. That's the problem here. It was still enforced.
Sure.
So what are we talking about here?
Okay, I'm saying in a hypothetical sense. The hypothetical sense, if you're listening, I'm not talking about then.
We keep going into hypotheticals. We're talking about
What's
facts.
wrong with the hypotheticals?
Because we use hypotheticals in a debate and in a conversation. What do you mean?
But don't facts overrule being hypothetical?
No, because hypotheticals. Go ahead, because I can't. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, a hypothetical could be hyper realistic or non-realistic, or could be very realistic, but it's to prove
your logic.
Right, it's just to keep you logically consistent. That's just how I debate. If you don't, I deal with facts. I will go to history and base everything on fact, but hypotheticals can also be a fact. It's just a theory. I debate philosophically and off of facts. That's just how I debate. And it's just
I'm aware of that, man,
I'm
but
not trying to come down on you or anything else like that.
Are we clear that the hypothetical is to prove that your logic is consistent? Do you know what being logically consistent is?
I know what being logical is, but again, we're talking about
a hypothetical is used to prove that you're being logically consistent.
Yes, ma'am, but we're talking about events. It doesn't matter whether the law was right or wrong. The fact of the matter is, those people that were considered the N-word, that were black from birth, there were laws that were still enforced. They were still enforced.
Then why did it work for the Moors?
What do you mean, why did it work for the Moors?
When the Moors went to the Supreme Court and they told them that they're not black, that they were not bound by these arbitrary laws between black and white, they actually won their court case.
You talking about the Moors?
Yeah.
Shavu, do you know what self-determination is?
Yeah, I know what that is.
You know what self-determination is, then you would know that black is not meant to be used, because that's not self-determination. That means that somebody gave you a term and they're determining who you are, so you're not free. If you look up the definition of freedom, then within the definition of freedom is the term self-determination. It's actually probably the third word in the definition of freedom. So if you want to be free, you have to be self-determining, and that's how you get there.
Okay, so as far as that, when we're talking about the Black Americans in this country, they took that word and they used that to identify themselves as a different ethnic group. That's what they did, and that's what they have been doing.
Off of your class.
But that's what they have been doing.
Black and white are class systems. Now, if you look at the Census Bureau, all right, the topics about race on the Census Bureau, you'll see that white represents North Africa, Europe, and the Middle East. So if it could represent all those three places, then how could it be about colors?
You talking about like Africa?
Yeah.
Thank you.
In terms of
same thing I said. Same exact thing.
So actually,
hold on. You talking about
Wait, hold on. Let him respond. Shavu, you respond, and then I want let them have a little dialogue, and then I want Gigi to go. And if you're friendly, hold on. If you're friendly in the request, I'm sorry. I just have Maud up here because, she has more of the legal knowledge of this, but I really want just people who don't agree with this topic, because I really want to get through to some people if possible. So also let's get up to 15K. I'm turning the comments off. Go ahead. Continue. Who is talking?
I was telling him that white represents Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. So that's not a color thing; it's a class thing. So if it's a class thing, then what makes you comfortable with being?
We're not in Africa, though, sir.
Did you? Listen, I need you to pay close attention to what I'm saying.
I am.
All right. I said white represents North Africa, the Middle East, and Europe. So that means that it's not a color thing. It's not a skin color thing. Okay. It's a class thing. So what would make you comfortable with picking the lowest class?
Sir. We're talking about in the United States.
All right. So if we're in the United States, then look up what black means. Black means the racial groups of Africa. So if we're talking about the United States, why are you picking a racial group of Africa if you're in the United States?
Because of the history of them being slaves. They were forcibly brought here. That's the difference. That's the major difference.
So it goes back to MOD's point. You're proving her point.
Right.
Have you ever heard of the book White Servitude in the Colony of Virginia?
Sir, but
I'm just saying you're not making sense. Self-determination, man. It sucks to hear it. I know it does, but to pull yourself up by your bootstraps really means you got to go out there and create this shit for yourself. You can't sit back and expect things to fall into your hands. If people are poisoning you, you can't go and tell them, "Hey, please stop poisoning me."
Into my hands?
You gotta grow your own food.
But who said anything about falling into my hands? What are you trying to say?
It sounds like you're making excuses and you're trying to beat around the bush.
Excuses for what exactly, sir?
I'm telling you the truth about these things, and you're making excuses.
It sounds like you're alluding to something. Making excuses for what exactly? You said this to me. Making excuses for what exactly fall into my hand. Everything I have in my life is because of me and my family before me and the opportunities they created for me and the opportunities that I created for myself. So what are you talking about? I never said we were victims. You said that.
You were just talking about codes and laws from hundreds of years ago.
Did it not happen?
You got a nation.
The argument is how
but when Black Americans were doing their old thing, do we have to talk about the Tulsa massacre? How 300 people were unalive for no reason? Do we got to bring that up? Do we got to bring about Rosewood?
And that's all horrible. That's horrible that all of those things happened.
So what are you talking about saying? What are you talking about victim?
It's terrible that it all happened, right? It's terrible that it happened.
Okay, so when it comes to every single law that Black Americans have tried to push to benefit them, they did that on their own without any help from nobody. So what are you talking about falling their hand? They had to fight for their rights. Nothing has been given to them.
And I love how convenient it is that they try to, disclude the past. The past still matters. The past really does have a huge influence on today.
We're trying to forget the past, but people who forget the past are bound to repeat the same thing.
Exactly. I mean, there's so much opportunity that was missed out on because of the past. I mean, you have these people, they went from slavery to Jim Crow. I mean, so much economic opportunity was missed out on.
Many of rose above those things.
But the fact of the matter is, we should have never gotten to that point.
Let me address her.
Because there were innocent people.
Let me address her real quick. You said many. You said some of them.
No, I didn't say some. I said many.
She said many.
But that's not the. Hold on. Let me get my point across now. Now you said many. Many is that's not the majority of Black folks.
That's not the majority of white people either.
Hold on, because I'm about to get mad. Are you an alleged white person?
I am a white person.
Okay. I just hope that you're not going to come up here and tell us how much alleged Black people are oppressed, because that will make you a white savior, and these are the biggest problem. This is the biggest problem in us trying to come to some sort of common ground with these issues. So please don't come up here and try to do the oppression stuff, because it's not going to work, and I'm going to kill you.
Hold on, let me address this real quick. I'm up here trying to speak facts to reality. This is a reality.
You're not speaking facts.
Let me get my point across.
Go ahead.
You over here saying that I'm trying to be a white savior. I'm just speaking facts as to what is happening right now.
You're not speaking facts.
That is what has You got
that's speaking facts. What?
Hold on. Let me finish.
We can say the majority of white people. Okay, so the majority of white people in this country rich.
Wait, what is the majority of white? No,
most of the wealth
why are majority people on welfare white?
What are you
most
talking
of the wealth
about? Wait a
is
minute,
held
hold
by
on, wait
white
a minute,
people.
hold on. What are you talking about?
What am I talking about? So does that apply to all white people too? So if we hold the position that all black people, right, have had to overcome whatever the case may be, does that hold true for all white people?
Most of the wealth is held by white people.
Is it?
Yes, most of the wealth in this country.
Are you sure about that? The
Are you sure about that? Correct.
The majority of wealth in this country actually belongs to Asians.
That's not true.
Okay,
no.
It is absolutely.
Most of the wealth in this country is held by white people.
Wait a minute, hold on, time out. First of all, the Asian community is not even that big. You're conveying numbers. You're conveying numbers.
You don't know what you're talking about.
That's because the United States are in so much debt with China to where they own
you have no idea
a lot
what
of our property over here.
That has nothing to do with
the Asian Americans that live in this country?
Yes.
No,
per capita.
The Asians. What's the Asian population?
Most of the wealth in this country is held by white people.
So you're going to use that 6%?
I don't know what this chick is talking about.
No, it's not.
She's not a chick. So first of all, relax yourself. Before I'm going to give you one more chance of you being disrespectful. Don't call her a chick.
And you just called me a white savior, and you have no idea.
Because you are a white savior, and this is my life.
I didn't call you a white savior. Don't call me
I
a
sure
chick.
did.
I'm not a chick. I'm a woman.
Sir,
So if you want to stay on this live, you better be respectful.
Are you aware that the melanated?
How about respect goes both ways?
Listen, I don't have to respect you because you're coming up here, and what I did was I warned you. That's what I did.
Can I talk to him, ma'am? Please. My name is Jeremy.
We already know white's not a skin color, it's a class. So when you say white people are the majority of anything, it's not just people with pale skin.
Are you aware that Africans and Latinos are indigenous to the land?
That's exactly what I was going to say. This is.
Are you aware of that? Are you aware that on October 3rd?
Who's yelling? Wait, don't yell. Relax. Let's talk calmly because we're having a conversation. My situation in my life.